Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cooking Atheists. I can hear them now screeching in the comments. That's what they sound like. Sorry, that was mean. No, we're not actually cooking atheists today. I mean, we are, but not necessarily on purpose. I mean, maybe we are doing it on purpose. I don't know. I'm not making a video directed at atheists right now like I've done in the past, but this argument does, in fact, kind of cook atheists, maybe even more than the cosmological argument. Here's the deal. Everyone believes in the difference between right and wrong. We all know that there's good things in this world and there's bad things in this world. Honestly, it's just part of being human. But why in the world do we even believe that? Like, is there a reason that it's objectively wrong to steal from someone? Is there a reason that it feels wrong to murder somebody? I mean, I hope the answer to that question is yes, but the answer might not be so clear to you. And so by the end of this video, I want you as the viewer to understand that without something morally objective, you can't have the difference between right and wrong. It's not possible. And so that's what we're going to unpack today in some of the arguments that I'm going to lay out for you. Okay, let me present an oddly specific scenario to you. Pretend you're sitting at your favorite coffee shop, enjoying your favorite drink on the menu, whatever that may be. You're sitting there, maybe you're studying, reading a book, doesn't really matter. You're sitting there enjoying your drink. And some random dude walks up, grabs your drink, takes a swig, and walks away. I think everybody who is in this situation would respond with disgust. They would say, why did you do that? Like, what was the point? But to get really philosophical on you for a second, why do you feel obligated to ask your coffee thief why they did that? Because after all, if we are really just chemical sludge interacting and bumping into each other, then who cares? We have no purpose or meaning or value. And if survival of the fittest reigns supreme, then maybe this other evolved chemical bag just needed a little caffeine on his way to work and didn't want to pay for it, and your coffee happened to be closest. I hope you see a very real problem here. This is what a lack of objective morality leads us to as a culture. Let me present to you with another scenario. You sit down at a restaurant, you order, get your food, eat your food, but then after you've eaten your food, you check your pockets and you realize that you don't have your wallet. So at this point, you have a couple options. You can dine and dash, or you can go home, get your wallet, and come back and pay for the food. Assuming there's no Apple Pay, okay? Oh, there's Apple Pay, you can pay. I know. Okay, just go along with just follow the line of reasoning. Just follow the illustration. Any ethical, considerate person would know in their heart that it's right to go get their wallet and come back and pay for the food. But the question is why? Let's take it a step even further. Let's say you're an hour from your house where your wallet is located. Now what do you do? Once again, the principle of right and wrong still remains whether or not we like it. Even if some of us would just dine and dash, we would still know on our way leaving the restaurant that was wrong. Now, if you've gotten to this point and you're trying to figure out what in the world I'm even talking about, you're trying to figure out how I'm going to land the plane here, let me know down in the comments what you think. I'd love to hear. At this point, you're kind of picking up what I'm putting down, or if you're just confused. I'd love to hear from you. Let's dialogue in the comments. And if you're getting anything out of this video, leave me a like so I know that I'm doing something right here. Now, this strange way that we all recognize this unspoken higher standard proves that something outside of the cosmos has placed some kind of ethical standard alongside us within the cosmos. It's kind of like the cosmological argument we talked about a few weeks ago that states that because time, space, and matter all had a starting point, there had to be something to cause that starting point. In the same way, there has to be some kind of moral standard that exists out there that causes all of us to recognize this unspoken standard. But here's what the skeptics are going to say. The skeptics are going to say that there is no moral standard, that there is no right and wrong. And I think C.S. Lewis puts it best when he says this. When you find a man who says he does not believe in a real right and wrong, you will find the same man going back on this a moment later. He may break his promise to you, but if you try breaking one to him, he will be complaining it's not fair before you can say Jack Robinson. I don't know who Jack Robinson is. I know who Jackie Robinson is, but I don't know who Jack Robinson is. If you're wondering where I got that quote, it's from this phenomenal piece of work right here called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. This book unpacks the moral argument in a way that I have just never even considered. It's incredible. It's deep. The reading in here is just so rich and dynamic, and C.S. Lewis has obviously timeless in the way that he describes these things. So if you want to check it out, be sure to use my link in the description for this book. It is an Amazon link. It'll take you there. I think it's like $11 or something, or $11.60 something, and it's well worth the read. And if you want a more methodical approach to the moral argument, check out this book that I have plugged multiple times in the past. This one is I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist by Frank Turek and Norman Geisler, and this one is also phenomenal. It's totally different writing style than something like C.S. Lewis, but it takes you step by step and reason by reason for why it's actually more difficult logically to be an atheist than it is to be a Christian. You actually have to have more faith to be an atheist than to be a Christian. Like I said, I'll leave links to both of those down in the comments. They're both pretty inexpensive books, and they are well worth your time. But to recap what C.S. Lewis was saying, atheists and skeptics and agnostics that say there is no objective morality, they don't actually believe that. They don't live like that. So when I have a conversation with a skeptic, a lot of times what I'll say when they present that argument to me that, oh, there's no objective morality, there is no such thing as right and wrong, I'll just tell them, well, you don't live like that. For that reason, it's obvious that whatever is outside of the cosmos giving us these moral guidelines to live by cares about us. This presence, whatever it is, this thing, this deity, is obviously personal, because if it wasn't personal, then it wouldn't give us personal moral guidelines to live by. Now, here's the dilemma that we're all in. How many of you actually consider doing the wrong thing in the dine and dash situation, especially when you're an hour away from your house? I would be lying to you if, as I'm writing the script for this video, I thought to myself, oh, there's no way I would dine and dash. If it's an hour away, yeah, it would be a consideration of mine. I hope as a Christian I wouldn't, but it would be a consideration of mine. What I'm trying to get at here is that all of us fail to live up to this unspoken higher standard all the time, every day. And the Bible agrees with me when it says this in Romans 3. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And this is the bad news for humans. Every single person has sinned and will sin. And I think this higher standard that's there, whether or not we like it, was put there for a reason by God. I think he wants us to realize that we are going to fail to live up to this unspoken higher standard every day, all the time, no matter what. There's nothing we can do. But let's take a look at the next few verses of Romans 3. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and are justified by his grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God put forward as a propitiation by his blood to be received by faith. This was to show God's righteousness, because in his divine forbearance he had passed over former sins. It was to show his righteousness at the present time, so that he might be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. So to make a long story short, we have failed. We have sinned. We stand unjustified before God. But what Paul is saying here is that because of Jesus Christ, because of Jesus of Nazareth, this perfect man that you and I could never be, that lived up to that higher standard, we stand justified before God because of his sacrifice for us. We no longer have to worry about falling short of this higher standard. It's been met for us. Now, the tricky thing is that pretty much every major religion says something about Jesus, and it's important to know that Christianity aligns with history, and every other religion claims something about him, but it's not accurate. And so last week's video might be super helpful for some of you who are wrestling with the similarities between the LDS Mormon community and the traditional Christian community. So I hope that that video can be helpful to you. It'll be somewhere on the screen. Otherwise, if you want to watch another video that YouTube is actually recommending for your specific interests on my channel, check it out on the other side of the screen. And no matter what, I'll see you next week.